just feel like I've honestly been such a mess and all over the place this week. I did film my Reading Rush TBR and my book haul on Wednesday when I had like the time for it, but because I didn't actually know what the theme was for this week's video, because I had no internet, I couldn't film. So now it's Sunday morning and I also need to upload this Sunday morning. So I'm a bit all over the place, but it is happening and I'm here to do a video. So 7 on Sunday is a weekly video prompting idea that was created by Grace over at G-Swizzel, so I'll link her down below and the Goodreads page, which you should definitely join. It's the best way to see the new video challenges without having to wait for us to upload our videos, and then you'll be like, I don't have enough time to do it. So it is the best place to go, and there's a lot of stuff that you can do on that Goodreads group, so I definitely suggest getting in there, joining us and having a good time there. But basically each week you get a theme and you can make a video or blog post, do whatever format you want to do, and you just have to mention 7 of your favorite or least favorite of a certain topic. And it's just a really great way of like interacting with people and seeing different ideas for the themes, and it's just a really fun idea and I highly recommend joining in the whole thing. So this week's theme is books you changed your mind on, and this was actually really hard for me to pick because generally when I've read a book I either love it or I hate it by the end of the conclusion, and I rarely change my mind about it. But it's more what happens to me is before I read a book I'll definitely not want to read it and I'll be like no, and then I'll read it and I'll be like oh my god, or the other way where I'm so excited and I read it and it's shit. That is more the way that I change my mind, but it's changing my mind on an opinion I had of the book, not the actual book. So let's go. Where's my kiss? Give me tell people who you are. Come here. Ugh. See, this is my baby. I literally just woke up like 10 minutes ago and I'm here to film. So he is like, let me outside. And I'm like, no, I need to make this video because we've only got a couple of hours, baby. See, he's so much better than Azzy because he's not clawing my face off. So all the books that I have read. And like most of them are only like slight changes of mine, like not like a major like I hate it now or I love it now. Like I just don't really have that many opinions after I read a book because it's kind of set in stone the minute I read it. Oh, I love you. So I'm gonna put him down so I can film this video, but he's just wants all the love and no. He wants to chill. So the first book is pretty much a given, and that's Twilight by Stephanie Meyer, because like mate, if I had my booktube channel when I was obsessed with Twilight, shit would have been real different. I read them all like 3 times. I had so many like companion novels. Every time there was anything about Twilight, I lost my fucking shit. Like this was an era in my lifetime when I was like 13 or 12 or something, and like yes, I have very much outgrown this series, and the way that I want to talk about it is like if I read it now this would be complete shit. Like I know it's like the most popular thing that's ever happened, but really the writing is so bad, and it's like oh, it's a love triangle between a vampire and a werewolf and blah blah blah. Like if we read a book now about this it would have so much better writing and it would still be cringy because you're like really another love triangle, because they have been quite phased out, I feel, love triangles. Like even when I do read about a love triangle it's just like whoa, when does this even happen anymore? But really this is like a change of heart from outgrowing it, and I'm glad I did because I really am happy that I'm not as obsessed with Twilight anymore. And it's just oh, it's just a whole vibe, isn't it, really, like the way we all used to be. And obviously there's people who still like Twilight and that is not a bad thing, but just my opinion is I don't like it anymore. Okay, I lied. I have Take 3 girls on this list by Kath Crowley, Simone Howell and Fiona Wood, and this is a book that I definitely didn't want to read before I picked it up. So I have one tweak here because it was really hard. It was really hard to actually pick this list, and I am just like scrambling here for books. But this book I got in YA Chronicles, so I never actually purchased it for myself, and it just, I don't like the cover, I didn't like the back of the book, I didn't like anything about it. And I had it for ages, but then I had to read it in a readathon because I was doing like the buzzwordathon or something with Sasha, and one of her buzzwords was girls. So this is the only book on my shelf that had girls on it that was going to be like an easier read. And like at first I was kind of like about it, but then as I started to get into the book it got so much better. And this is a book I feel like all girls will need to read. Like this is a really good coming of age story, and it goes into a lot of details that a lot of books like don't like talk about, because it's like, ew, that's a bit too much to like have in a book. And I'm like, it's about periods though, like this is like normal things, and like about sex and about friends and about anything that like most books will try and flower up, but this book is like very serious about a lot of its topics, and it was just really good, and I just highly recommend it. And it was like one of my favorite books of either last year or the year before, but it was just a really good read. Next, I'd like to talk about Heir of Fire by Sarah J Maas. So I feel like we're all in the same boat here, that when this book dropped and Kale was really fucked over, we got very sad, okay? We got very sad, because Selena and Kale were such a good couple, and in the day when I first read this, they were like everything to me. Like, I loved them so much, and the heartbreak I went through reading Crown of Midnight really killed me. So then we get to Heir of Fire, and they introduce a new love interest, and I'm just like, who is this guy? Like, who is Rowan? I don't like him. So this book and the whole experience of reading it was really not that fun. So come like a couple of years later, when I reread the series, still had the same heartbreak, because I knew what was going to happen. But coming into this book on the second read, I was able to enjoy Rowan's character and enjoy the character development, because I ended up loving him by the end of the series, because we obviously stuck with him. But I really enjoyed seeing the roots of where it started and actually getting to appreciate the story a second time. So that was like really good, and I had so much fun the second time, and now I do really like this book. Rereading is honestly the best way to make up your mind if you actually do hate this book or you don't hate this book. So it really did change my opinion with this one. Another book that got my opinion changed from rereading was Cinder by Marissa Meyer, because when I first read it, everyone was talking up this series so badly, and I was like, okay, yeah, this sounds cool. But then it was very predictable, and the whole idea of it and the tropes and everything, it was so obvious what was gonna go down that I just really wasn't a big fan of it, and I was just like, ugh. But then when I read Scarlet and Cress, I started to really enjoy the story, so I decided to do a whole reread of the Lunar Chronicles this year, and we're into July, and I've only read the first one because I apparently can't do rereads very well. But actually being able to read the book again and starting from the beginning and seeing everyone's character development, seeing the growth and seeing everything pop up and seeing all the little hints and everything, it was so good. So I changed my rating from 3 stars to 4 stars because I ended up really enjoying this book a lot more, and really it did change my opinion. And now I've been so keen to read Scarlet for like 6 months, don't know when it's gonna happen, but Scarlet is like my favorite one out of the 3 that I've read. So like to have Cinder have such a better impact on me, I can't wait to read Scarlet and see if I'm gonna enjoy it like even more. The next on my list is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. Why did I forget her name for a second? So when I read this, it was very early on my channel and before I had like a lot of books read, because all of the stuff that I had to compare it to was like Twilight and Vampire Academy and Fallen and like all these older series where they're all paranormal, very same series. So this is probably like in there with the first of the fantasy stuff that I was reading, so it was so different that I really liked it and it was really fun. But as time has gone on, I've realized that like this is not that good. Like it's a very average kind of story, and Elena is such a basic bitch who does nothing. Like, to be honest, that is my opinion. The only thing going for it is the Darkling in this book, and I still stand by my love of the Darkling because I love him. But I feel like, yeah, she just didn't really do much, and Mal is like one of the worst love interests because he's so boring. So we have basic and boring as the main couple, and I'm like, no. So reading Six of Crows though is amazing, and I'm pretty sure King of Scars will be amazing, even though I haven't read it yet. I really do need to, but like I just don't like this as much as I used to. The next book I'd like to talk about is Poison Study by Marie V. Schneider. So I'm just holding up Poison Study, but basically it's the whole series, like all 9 books, because Poison Study is the only 5-star book in the whole thing because it was such a good book and I really enjoyed it, and like Valak and Yelena have like such a great relationship, and the story and the poison, like that was really fun. But it just goes downhill, and this is why like it's kind of tainted Poison Study for me, because I put in the effort to read the other 8 books and it never got better. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and it just kills me. So this is the one that I'm kind of like hesitantly putting on this list, because technically this book is still like 5-star read and I still love it, but the rest are very shit. And I really don't recommend continuing in this series because I doubt there's many other people that actually enjoy the other 8 books. And the last book I want to put on my list is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. So it's kind of the same thing. I still really do enjoy the first book, and I think I'm always going to enjoy the first book, but the series goes very downhill. Like it gets really bad, and like book 2 is the like bottom peak of how shit this is. I really didn't enjoy it, but maybe like in the year between this book and Glass Sword coming out, I read a lot more books and I had a better like understanding of what things I really did enjoy and like seeing the predictable things, because tropes weren't a big thing to me until after I had BookTube, and that's what everyone talks about. Like there's a lot of ways that we perceive books now, that we are booktubers, and the different things that we look for and the different things that we talk about, and like it changes you. So that could also be the reason why I just stopped liking it, but it actually got shit. Like only read Red Queen and only read Poison Study, then give up on everything else, because just no. So here are all the books that I changed my mind about, and I think it works. Like I don't know why I found this topic so hard. Like sometimes I just don't feel like I fit into the topics, but I still want to join, and I love to, because I said at the start I'm not going to do every video because I don't want to get stressed, but now I'm like I want to do them all because it's so much fun. Just the last 2 weeks I've been struggling a little bit because things have been a bit off the last 2 weeks, just like having a different shift and then no power, then no internet, just it was all happening, but I still want to be here. But anyway guys, hopefully you enjoyed my video. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!